Ah, yes. Oh, I'm a little dark here. Hold on 1 second, let me fix that. The ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, to quote General MacArthur, we have returned. So, new format, new look to things, same Micah and The Hatman. So, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and damn, it's good to be back.
Indeed. Welcome, folks, once again, to Micah and The Hatman. All right, folks. We got some interesting stuff to discuss today, to say the least. So let's go ahead and get to it. Hatman, pick of the week.
Yeah.
No Time to Die. But you have time to review, thankfully. Die. So
I do have time to review it.
What you got?
So, Daniel Craig's last outing as James Bond, and it seems like his movies have just been peaks and valleys, respectively, like one after another. Casino Royale, great, one of the best Bond movies ever.
Hell yeah.
Quantum of Solace, we don't talk about Quantum of Solace.
The only good thing about that is Olga Kurylenko looked amazing. So,
yes,
she's hot. So what else do you expect?
But then again, Skyfall, another one that's top tier. Spectre, we don't talk about Spectre. That's likely among the worst. And now No Time to Die. Is the pattern going to continue? Is this going to end on a high? No. Not really. It's kind of in the middle, ironically enough. I think this one kind of flatlines a little bit. It's not bad. It's not like a standout movie either. It feels like this one. I'm glad that what it does is put the Craig movies, or at least it wraps them up pretty neatly. You know, nice little bow on top. Even if it does sort of have to like retcon some shit, and honestly, like there are some decisions that I thought were really stupid in there, but those are mostly because Spectre was such a dumb movie. For example, they pretty much wrap up the whole Spectre has so much influence and controls everything by killing off almost all of the members in like the first hour of the movie. Suddenly they're all dead. What do? Okay. Why was that necessary? Well, because the movie Spectre was so underwhelming and so stupid that they had nowhere to go with it, apparently. I don't understand it. You build them up sort of in Quantum of Solace by saying, oh, yes, this organization, Quantum, they have people everywhere. Literally have people everywhere.
Yeah.
That makes them such a huge threat. And then they sort of get ignored for Skyfall. And then, oh, here they are in Spectre, but actually they're a subsidiary of Spectre, which is like Quantum, but bigger and even worse, and they're all dead. Okay, glad we wrapped that up. What? Why? What the fuck was the purpose of that? I guess, again, because they wanted to wrap up Daniel Craig's Bond story with a neat little bow, so that there's no sense of continuation from here on. So yeah, that and freaking it pretty much retconned Bond moving on from Vesper Lind.
Really?
It's so end of Quantum of Solace. He lets go, right?
Yeah.
Drops her necklace in the snow. He's done. Beginning of this, he's with his new lady love, who was the Bond girl from Spectre.
Yeah.
And she tells him, like, oh yeah, you need to let go of Vesper, like, entirely, and then, you know, there will be no secrets between us. So he goes to her grave and then writes like a little note that says "forgive me" on it, and then burns it and whatever, some Italian tradition, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, she was let go of. Like, that was wrapped up in Quantum of Solace. That was finished. Why they did that, I guess for a callback to, you know, him visiting Tracy's grave and other movies. And speaking of callbacks, this movie reminds me a shit ton of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh.
The tone, some of the shots, the music even, to the point where I was like, oh, this is not going to have a happy ending, is it? Somebody's going to fucking die at the end of this, isn't it? Because you see Bond and his lady love driving down a very similar stretch of road together, saying they have all the time in the world at the beginning of the movie. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Somebody's going to fucking die, isn't it? Somebody's going to fucking die. So we'll talk about that in the spoiler territory. But yeah, God, what else can I fucking say about this outside of spoilers? The woke elements. Let's talk about the woke elements, because I know that was something that people were really, really worried about coming into this, and I was too. As soon as I heard Phoebe Waller-Bridge was doing script rewrites, I'm like, oh shit, okay, well, movie might be fucked. No, not really. Ironically enough, no, not really. The only thing that I think is different about this one is Bond doesn't really seduce anybody.
That is
which
weird.
is fine. Well, it makes sense because Lady Love from Spectre is the one that he wants to drop everything and stay with forever.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Then I get, yeah,
as far as
that does make sense.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. The new 007, who's a black woman, played by what's her name, who was Maria Rambeau in Captain Marvel. I apologize for making you remember that movie was a thing.
I know who you're talking about, but yeah, I don't remember her name.
Yeah, but yeah, she's fine. It's funny because she kind of has like a bit of a chip on her shoulder, and thinks that she's, you know, pulling one over on Bond, saying, "Oh, by the way, I got your 00 number. I bet you thought they'd retire it, huh?" And Bond is just like completely unfazed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So it works, and by the end of it, like, she develops a respect for him that she straight up says, "Yeah, petition to give him his 00 number back." Boom. Like, fine. Not woke. There's nothing woke about it. Frankly, I struggled to find anything that was like over the top woke or just inappropriate about the fucking movie.
So before we get into spoiler territory and you give your final opinion on this and whether or not people should probably watch it, I have one particular question for you to see if you've noticed this in time off like I have. There's a lot of people out there that go on social media or whatever and try to poke the hornet's nest to get publicity, when ultimately what ends up being in the final product isn't as bad as everyone else says.
Right.
Do you think that's the case here? Where people, like, certain people around it were just kind of poking at the hornet's nest basically to try to make it seem like it was worse than it is? Just because it'll get people to possibly watch it?
Well, here's the thing about that. I think some people do it, at least like in the like YouTube and Twitch sort of reactive community. I think some people do that to drive attention for their videos marketing is, as far as I understand it, it backfires more often than not. Most famously with Ghostbusters 2016. So I don't know if in this case it was a marketing thing to try and say, oh yeah, this is woke. You know, we're going to attract a more progressive audience, because I don't think they had much of an issue with James Bond to begin with. At least not Craig's James Bond. It was more like the older ones. But at the same time, I kind of think the ones who were trying to use it to pump up their own brands definitely overstated it. And even after the movie came out, saying, "Oh yeah, it's garbage. You know, don't even bother watching it. I saw it as woke nonsense." No, it's really not. So yeah, it's another one to throw into the pile of really not as politically charged as people would have you think it was.
Seems to be the case way too often, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
they're really... I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there aren't pieces of media that get overly political.
Right.
And the thing is I really feel like there's a lot of people out there who... they know that there's a subsect of people on the internet that if you act like something is quote-unquote smashing the patriarchy or something along those lines, that there's going to be a dozen, if not more, YouTube videos made about it from YouTubers who have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers. And then suddenly that's going to be publicity. And what in my opinion, what they're banking on is the idea that people will go watch it anyway. Because let's be honest about something. And we're going to talk about this for one of the topics later. It's about money. All of this is.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people like making a living off of the things that they enjoy doing. And some people really like roasting things for whatever reason, and they like sitting in front of a webcam and getting angry. And you know what? You do you. You know, at the end of the day, however, I personally am not going to sit here and pretend that it's as bad as some people say it is, because they have to say that it's as bad as it is, or else they think their own audience is going to turn on them. Which, by the way, have more respect for your audience than that, please.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Because I often say that the fans of our work are the best fans in the world, because they get it. And they don't, just because we have a differing opinion doesn't mean that they want to tie a noose and hang us in the square. They understand it as long as you're able to talk about what is actually in it and do so respectfully and eloquently. People can vibe with it. Be like, okay, well, it's not as bad as it is, but it's still not a great movie, which is what I'm assuming is the final grade on this one.
It's, before we go into spoilers, at least, it's middle of the road. It's one of those that I didn't go see in theaters. It was not a big priority for me to go see it. I bought it on sale, and I don't regret buying it on sale. I don't really regret missing it in theaters either.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those movies that I would probably only watch again if I was like marathoning a bunch of James Bond movies. I would not watch this on its own just to watch it. Like Casino Royale, for example, I will watch that movie just if I'm looking for something to watch. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that movie. Fuck
Hell
it.
yeah,
I'll put
that movie's
on.
amazing.
Yeah, it's fucking incredible. But no, I mean, it's literally middle of the pack as far as the Daniel Craig movies go. Better than Quantum of Solace, hell of a lot better than Spectre, but then again, that's not saying a whole lot. Definitely falls short of Skyfall. Absolutely falls short of Casino Royale. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a I'll leave it at this. It's a satisfying conclusion. It's at least satisfying.
Fair enough. All right, folks. Now it is time for spoilers. So, Hatman.
Spoiler.
What do you feel the need to spoil on this one? I'm curious.
So, two things. First, you know how Christoph Waltz was in Spectre? I know you didn't see it, but you probably know that he was in it.
Yeah.
And he did a fine job in that movie, even though his Blofeld is among the worst iterations, but that's not his fault. That's the script's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back in this and is basically entirely wasted. They get him for like an interrogation scene, and then like one other thing where it's basically just him, doing voiceover work. But him in his interrogation is like, you didn't even need the damn scene in the movie. It makes no sense. And it's all for naught anyway, because he fucking dies at the end of it. So, yeah, they basically just wrap up the whole plot of Spectre and the existence of Spectre by saying, we're sorry, we're just going to get rid of it now. Just clean house. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Curious what my beef is with Spectre? Mostly because I don't like the fact that they pulled this whole the person who is at the head of Spectre just so happens to be James Bond's adoptive brother, who has been making all of these moves just to fuck with him for so long. No, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. That's stupid. You mean to tell me he's been tracking James Bond's career this entire time, and everything that he's done was to mess with? No. And on top of that, like, he gets captured at the end, and of course offed in this one. That makes it worse. That fucking makes it worse. Spectre was an absolute waste. Go back and watch the older Bond films. Watch which one is it? You Only Live Twice with Donald Pleasance's Blofeld, I think.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. Intimidating as shit. You don't even need to see him. You don't even need to see his face for him to be fucking intimidating. And like, Spectre is an organization to be feared at that point. And in Spectre, and then in this, it's like, oh, well, we have secret meetings and stuff. We're in the shadows, and that doesn't really do anything. That doesn't tell me anything. It's a replay of the whole Quantum of Solace thing, except now I'm even less invested.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. So, and yeah, Changis gives a good point. Blofeld's entire motive is daddy loved you more. It's fucking stupid. Absolutely stupid.
Well,
but
in
again, they
case,
clean house with this one. So,
given how that is an argument I see among sisters several times, maybe they should have turned Blofeld into a woman.
Oh God, maybe they should have. So, I guess I should also talk about the villain's plot too. But the thing is, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I love Rami Malek. He was amazing as fucking Freddie Mercury. You don't need me to tell you that, because if you've seen fucking Bohemian Rhapsody, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He plays such a shit villain. He's not intimidating. And part of the reason why I feel like Spectre got so fucked over is he was like keeping tabs on them because they killed his family. And just so happens to link up with someone who has a bioweapon that can target the DNA of any member of Spectre and just kill them outright. Because of reasons.
Who's he working with, Umbrella?
But then he's all... I guess. But no, he's like working on his own. And, okay, well, so he wants to kill Spectre. Okay, no, that's not it. His whole thing is he wants to also, like, infect other, like, major players on the world stage for some reason, which also doesn't make any sense. I don't know, because the whole plot was incomprehensible. The villain plot, at least, was incomprehensible. It didn't make any fucking sense. He's a bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy. Maybe they cut some shit out because, like, COVID, the idea of a virus, going global and killing a whole bunch of fucking people, it too close to COVID. But fuck, like, it didn't make any fucking sense at all. It was dumb. And then on top of that, like, so here's the big spoiler. But it's not really a spoiler, because if you paid attention to the movies, you kind of figured it was moving in this direction anyway. James Bond fucking dies.
Yeah.
He straight up gets killed. You kind of figured, last outing, the way these movies have been going, that was going to happen. It makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. The way they did it, though, the execution was not fucking good. So Bond is all shot up on this island. Mm-hmm. There are missiles coming to the island. He needs to escape. I figure, he's just not going to have time to escape. He's just not going to be able to do it. He's shot up, and this is James Bond who has to come to terms with his own mortality.
Right.
Like, we had the whole, resurrecting thing, surviving death thing in fucking Skyfall. Now this is a Bond who can't get himself out of it. And he's got to come to terms with that with the woman that he loves and his daughter. Because, yes, he has a daughter in this.
Mm.
And instead of that, they go one step further to try and make it seem like, well, actually he has a choice and he is choosing to die, which is dumb, by the villain, like, exploding a vial on him and saying, oh, by the way, I've infected you with a bioweapon now, so if you have any kind of physical contact with your wife or daughter, it'll kill them. So you can never see them again. So it's like an agonizing choice of, like, oh, well, will I be able to see them again, or should I die? Like, the risk of killing them versus me. And of course he's going to fucking choose to die.
Yeah,
like, we
guess I'll die.
Duh. Yeah, duh. But I hate the fact that they stole what could have been, like, a really emotional moment for Craig's Bond. Like, everything leading up to that, him being able to survive anything and coming to terms with the fact that, no, he's not going to be able to make it simply because he's shot up too bad. He does not have the physical ability to do it. That would have been great. Have a Bond that is coping with this idea that maybe he failed, but he didn't actually fail. Like, he saved the world, didn't actually fail, but he just couldn't make it out on his own, and coming to terms with that, accepting that. But no, now it's just I'm just going to choose to die. Who gives a shit about the fact that I probably could not make it off this island even if I wasn't infected with this? Guess I'll die. I hate that. I really, really hate that. And I know, like, this seems like a nitpicking fucking thing, but this movie could have been way fucking better. Way fucking better. And it wasn't. And I hate that. Daniel Craig's swan song could have been up there with Skyfall and Casino Royale, but it wasn't. And it was dumb plot decisions like that really fucking upset me.
There you go, folks. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next bit, my pick of the week. So this is a little bit of advertising as well. So tonight I will be over on, I don't know why Hatman is laughing.
I'm just laughing because just go ahead. I'll tell you in a bit.
No, get it out. Like, what is it?
Dolphins.
Oh, trust me, Xavier's gonna get whooped.
Fucking dolphins, man.
I'm playing an actual Japanese character, so whenever it comes to me fighting Xavier, my attitude is, Dolphin underwear? And then the beatings begin. Brother Mouse is in the chat. He can attest to this. So, because I am an actual biking main, and I will beat the piss out of you if you're not careful. So, so Guilty Gear Strive, I have I haven't played a Guilty Gear game in a while, and because of course the last one that came out was Exard Rev 2, and Biken was in that one as well. The gimmick with Strive is kind of interesting. So Guilty Gear has been absolutely insane for like ever since it came out, and it's always been one of those sort of niche anime fighters. It's sort of the progenitor of like the anime fighter, you know? And it's also one of the most fucking metal video game series ever. And when they announced Strive, what they came out with was this idea of, we're actually going to take the gameplay, we're going to actually tone it down a little bit, and it's still going to be crazy, just in a very different way. It's going to have more weight to it. Combo attacks do more damage. The choices of how you proceed in a fight are very different. A counterattack does more damage, and combos that are launched off of counterattacks are fucking lethal. Things along those lines to basically make each particular engagement between two people mean a little bit more. Because that was sort of my beef with a game like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where you have to have, I want to say, like a 50-hit combo to nearly beat somebody, you know? I actually prefer the, a particular, I think there's a good balance, you know? I'm not a big fan of, like, a 5-hit combo halfway deleting your health bar either. I like the idea that, like, you have to work at it, you have to practice at it to kind of be able to do that sort of shit. And I really felt like the best the best balance for it is what the most recent King of Fighters game had before this, which was KOF 14, where you can actually do these fairly long, like, crazy combos, but they're going to delete 70% of somebody's life bar. And I feel like that's the way that it is. If you're beating the ever-loving piss out of somebody, it should be reflected when you're fighting them. You know, there are combos that I would do in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, much as I like that game. There's this particular one with Jill that is sort of like her core gameplay loop, I guess you could say, where it's like, okay, I've done jab, sweep, uppercut, you've launched you into the air, punch, punch, kick, kick, charging star, hypercharging star, and it's like 30%. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, so, when it comes right down to it, I really feel like Guilty Gear Strive is one of those fighting games that has really hit its stride. It's strived to hit its stride. You know, it has found the balance. It has found that balancing point. With Biken here holding his sword, let me, you know, for those of you who don't know, every blade that you ever hold, knife, sword, whatever, has a balancing point. And the balancing point being at a very specific spot, so that the weight is evenly or properly distributed, so it's comfortable to swing, is important. Or else the sword can be too heavy, or it could be a little bit too. If it's too heavy, it's gonna tire you out. If it's too light, that fucker's gonna bend. So you got to find that balance point, and I really feel like Guilty Gear Strive really is a well-balanced blade of a video game. And yes, I just worked a Thanos reference into this. It is perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Gee, I wonder who my favorite Marvel villain is that isn't Venom. I wonder who. It's almost like there's a big fucking poster over my left shoulder.
Is it?
But,
perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Exactly. So, when it comes right down to it, there is a This in my opinion is one of the most well balanced fighting games I've ever played. There's not what I would call a bad character in the game. There's some characters that are harder to use, but that doesn't make them bad. It just makes them tough to use. It just means that some characters, like you have to be a little bit more advanced to really do it well. The other thing that I also love about it is it nails the aesthetics. Like, visually speaking, it's very, very well done. I love the design of the characters. I think that they all look badass. And in a fighting game, I really think that's what's most important. Because you're fighting. You know, you're looking to kick somebody's ass. You know, of course, you know, men should be pretty, women should be handsome. Or, I'm sorry, men should be handsome, women should be pretty. Goodness, that sounded very weird. I'm not a fan of the Bishonen thing. And the good thing about it is that this is not a game that does Bishonen very often. A lot of the guys look like dudes. You know, a lot of the women look like women. So, and since Bridget is not in this game, there's no confusion there. So, and long-term Guilty Gear fans are going to get that reference, and they're going to be like, ha ha! But anyway, needless to say, this is one of the best like fighting games I played in a long time. Honestly, I actually think that it might be better than Tekken 7, which is saying a lot because Tekken 7 is really fucking good.
Yeah, really.
It's easily the best 2D fighter I've played in a long time. I like this a lot better than I like Street Fighter V. I like it a little bit more than I like KOF 14. Trying to think of other 2D fighters I've played. I like it a lot more than I like BlazBlue. Though BlazBlue is a good game too. But I don't know if I like it better than Exard. I just think it's different, you know? But here's what I would say. The gameplay of this is what Mortal Kombat 12 or 11 should have been like in terms of gameplay. You know, if you want to have a balanced, grounded, I guess you could call it footsie feel to it, that's not a bad thing. But the gameplay still needs to be engaging. Mortal Kombat 11 is not that engaging in regards to it. It's strategic, but it's too strategic. It's too slow. Especially when you've had your last two installments basically snorting more cocaine, seeming like they snort more cocaine than Tony Montana. You know, it's like, you need to, if you're going to develop a fighting game, if you've got ninjas and samurai and people who are throwing ice and people who time travel and all this other bullshit fighting each other, go fucking nuts! Have some fucking fun! You know? And MK11 did not allow themselves to have the fun that they should have. This does. So, to be honest with you guys, if you have not, as if I'm not honest usually, if you have not picked up Strive yet and you're looking for a really good 2D fighting game, this literally is the game for you. Not to mention it's an amazing entry point for Guilty Gear. And on top of that, it has probably the best game soundtrack since Doom Eternal. In fact, I said this on Twitter. I thought it was really interesting that the best metal album of the year 2020 was Doom Eternal. The best metal album of 2021 was Guilty Gear Strive. Like if you're in a metal band, you ought to feel a little disgraced right now. Like the video games are beating you in regards to quality music, you know. But then again, that's another thing. This is a game that could get people into metal too, which makes me very happy as a metalhead. So, real quick, by the way, shameless plug for those of you out there. Since we've got, how many people are watching right now? 44 viewers. Holy shit. Thank you guys. I'm glad, like, seriously, it makes me very happy that you guys are here. Whoa. This just happened. Englewood Book 2 is now at $12,900, guys. So, if you have not picked up Englewood Book 2 yet, we're almost to 13 grand. When we get to 15 grand, we are going to commission Preston Acevedo to do an alternate cover. If you don't have the box tier, get the box tier, because this one will have literally everything, and when that Preston cover is done, you'll be able to get that as well. In fact, on top of that, you also get a poster that I commissioned, meaning I paid for this. This came out of my pocket. This Inglewood Peregrine poster. Some of you guys might not have seen this yet, but this will be an 11x7 poster that you guys will have available. It's sort of a companion poster to the other one that we commissioned that was on the Peregrine campaign. That one was of Batman Superman #2, Volume 1. This is of Batman Superman 78, which was the end of Volume 1. So yeah, pick it up. Link, all you have to do is ! Comics. Nightbot actually just put it in the chat for us. So check it out. It is an awesome comic book. I would know. I fucking wrote it. Alright. Time to get to the topics of the week. By the way, guys, for those of you who enjoy us watching Anime Cringe, if you haven't noticed, we do have that donation goal up. Not to mention, just given how my financial situation has been lately, I would very much appreciate it because it helps me out quite a bit. So if you want to do that, we'll watch something absolutely insane from the land of Nippon, and it's always funny. So there is that. So let's go ahead and get to this particular topic. So I think that this is something that we're going to finally be able to put the wrap on. So Froskerin, one of the hosts of the new G4 TV, who prior to this was a commentator for League of Legends stuff. She's not really a big she was not a big League of Legends streamer, but she had a pretty decent following, I would say, on Twitch. And she made headlines among the gaming sphere because she, of course, did a speech on G4 about sexism in gaming, yada yada yada. The people you would expect to cheer it, cheered it. The people you expect to be like, what the fuck is this, said, what the fuck is this, etc., etc. So, the fallout from it's been interesting. G4 TV has lost a ton of subscribers, apparently. And people were fleeing the platform. And all because it's basically you have one of the hosts saying gamers, as a blanket group, are sexist because there are some shitheads who said mean things to me. Now, let me say this.
Who does that remind me of?
Yeah, let me say this. People online saying shitty things about women in the gaming sphere. Hatman and I have been around long enough to tell you, yes, it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
However, with that said, that does not mean that everybody is like that. And here's the thing.
Nope.
Here is the thing. If you're a woman, there are going to be some things you are going to encounter that are going to be very different than what a guy encounters. For example, well, I'm turning into Scott Steiner. You're trying to get the simpy of the people, but yeah, but no simpy. But anyway, like one thing I have seen is if you're a woman in the gaming area, every once in a while you will get the overly obsessed male fan. And they get creepy. The reason that they get creepy is they make assumptions about the parasocial relationship between the creator and the fan, and they start fantasizing. And it gets very weird very quickly, and there's a reason that you'll see a lot of women that are around, even that we know, put a wall up immediately. You know, it's like, do not pass this wall. Don't you fucking dare start going that direction with them. Because it's creepy, let's be honest. And for guys, it's different. Like, the things that we will encounter are a lot more combative. You know, everybody wants to fight you, basically. Everyone wants to yell at you and scream at you, and they want to fight. Because they feel the need. Mm-hmm. It's part of being a guy, you know. Mm-hmm. Men constantly will check each other to see who's higher up in the hierarchy, you know? And when it comes right down to it, that is something that you end up dealing with. So I'm not going to say that those things don't exist. I feel like saying that they don't exist actually kind of does a little bit of discredit for how the situation can play out sometimes. But with that said, that doesn't mean that you can blame everybody for that. And many of the women that I know that have gone through shit like what she said she went through, they don't blame all gamers for it. They're just like, it was one psycho. I cannot blame everybody for that. Chaos Sonic throws in a buck, says, sorry I'm late, Micah. I've been having a rough one at work today. Still working on after the new gaming PC motherboard cast caught on fire. Holy shit. Plan on enjoying it.
Holy fuck.
Plan on enjoying Entertainment Podcast Reborn in its new 2-hour format. Well, I'm glad you're here, buddy. For sure. And we're happy. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, we are a lot more energetic now than we were before.
Oh, yeah.
So, regardless, the issue, the one thing I found interesting about this is she went on social media and said, people are saying they want to talk to me about this. I'm willing to do it. Contact my agent. Some people tried to get in contact with the agent. They were getting bounce back emails telling them no. One person that got through was somebody that Hatman and I have met, Jeremy Hambley from the Quartering, who, we're not going to talk trash about anybody. There's temptation there. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, not the time.
People are people, and we're going to leave it at that.
Yep.
And like Arn Anderson says, people are like, and all that implies. So, then there was some folks who got upset at the fact that he was going to be talking to her. Not that he was getting the opportunity to talk to her and they weren't, though that might have been part of it. I'm not going to make that assumption. But some people were upset at the fact that he was going to have this conversation and it was going to give her a platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's two elements to this, and I want to break it down. I understand gatekeeping. I understand it better now than I used to. You know, I used to have the opinion of open all the gates, let just like whoever's the best is going to win. You know, it's a very libertarian point of view, I guess you could say.
Right.
But then as time has gone on, I have realized that there are people out there, regardless of what their political affiliation is, by the way, that will take advantage of that, and then they will try to burn the gate down behind them. You know? Yeah. If you want a pro wrestling example of this, listen to shoot interviews about some of the creative control stuff that Hulk Hogan did. He was a guy who would burn down the gate behind him. There's also some things that apparently John Cena was like that too. And he would try to burn down the gate behind him. So that people couldn't get over and be on his level. Shawn Michaels did some shit like that. It's a very pro wrestling thing, right? Which is why oftentimes you guys have heard me say, like, whenever this sort of stuff flares up, I call it pro wrestling bullshit. That's what it is. It's fake, it's stupid, it's pointless. But regardless, I understand keeping the gate from people that are coming in that are just political protesters. Do I think that this woman is sincere about it? I made a video saying no, and I still stand by that. However, if they have the gumption to come up, no politics in the chat. If they have the gumption to come up and actually have the conversation with you, if they actually want to sit down and discuss this, let them. And here's why. Andrew Breitbart said it best. Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Mm-hmm.
Let them talk. Because here's the thing. What we did when we saw this woman rant like she did, she started digging a grave. Bit by bit. And you want to know what, if she had gone on the Quartering's channel and that had actually gone through, would have happened? Jeremy would have essentially been giving her a bigger shovel. Because all she's going to do, if she can't write the course, is keep digging it. Because I wouldn't expect Jeremy to go in hard on her with questions. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Getting somebody onto a live stream to interview them, and all you do is yell at them, that's not an interview, that's an interrogation.
Exactly.
And it makes you look like a fucking jackass. Doesn't matter who you are. I don't care who you are. When it comes right down to it, do not ever assume that works. Because it fucking doesn't. You know? Just yelling at people, like, never works. So, when it comes right down to it, like, that's what some people seem to think what should happen here. It's like, look, I get that you're pissed off at her, but she doesn't care. And if you sit there and start screaming at her, all that ends up happening is you prove her right in her own mind. You know? Even though you have a reason to be mad. But if you sit there and start screaming at her like, you fucking bitch, you slut, you this, you that, all she's going to hear in her mind is what everybody else has been telling her that gaming is like. It's just, you cannot, it's bait. Don't take the bait. You know?
Nope.
And this is sort of the problem that we run into on a cultural standpoint when it comes to this sort of thing. Is, do people actually want a discussion? Are they willing to have a sit-down conversation? If they are, go for it. Because it's not going to... Like, if they're crazy, the crazy is going to come through. People are going to smell it. I've seen a lot of them where they like crazy people go on and get interviewed. And they don't look good because they're crazy. So I'm going to make some political references real quick. We're not going to go in depth on them. But when Nick Fuentes was on The Blaze, he looked like a fucking virgin. Hatman and I were laughing our asses off about it. Like, we were losing our fucking minds. Another one, when Alex Jones was interviewed by Megyn Kelly. And could you imagine if Anita Sarkeesian, she looked bad on Stephen Colbert, and Colbert was on her side. Could you imagine if a credible journalist interviewed Anita Sarkeesian, how that would have showed how she would have looked? You know, like, we'll never forget Name 5 Games, right? Yeah, and Brian Gilmartin in the chat says it well. Give them enough rope, and they'll hang themselves. And that's something to keep in mind. And this is something that, like, it worries me about the whole culture war. If you start wanting safe spaces, if you start wanting things of that nature, you're no better than your opponent. You know? Instead, if you want to have your spot, your property, where people can come hang out and people can do whatever, and that's what you want to provide for people, by all means, that's a service. You know? On the flip side, if you cannot be afraid of having these conversations, because all it shows is that you are not secure in your worldview. That you do not believe strong enough. If you cannot sit there and make the argument. And the funny thing is, I have seen several people that were coming across, honestly, as kind of fearful here of how this conversation was going to go, make arguments properly. It's like, you guys have the ability. No, don't, like, there's nothing to be scared of here. There's nothing to be scared of. Fear is the mind killer. You know, if these people want to dig their own graves, let them dig their own graves. And if they want to use your place to give, if they want to come to you to do it, give them a shovel. Be like, okay, let them do it. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, the culture war is this. It's two people sitting. I use this example all the time. It's two people sitting across the table from one each other, and each of them has a gun, and each of them has a clip of bullets. The bullets are for the other guy's gun. If they want to slide you the ammunition, you don't argue. pure, simple. Now, I understand not wanting to talk to people who are insincere. By all means, if you don't think they're insincere, don't do it. But don't get pissy with the people that do. You know, just let it happen. You know, you make the best decision for you. Anybody who's watching, you make the best decision for yourself. But have enough faith that other people aren't just gonna give people a sounding board to put their crazy out there, and then they're gonna just agree with them. You know, they're like, an interview is not evangelizing for someone. It's very different. So, a couple donations came in. Brain just gave us $23 and said nothing. Okay. 420 Gunny throws in $5. He says, here's to the cringe. Yours and Hat's opinions on the new Halo live-action series. Complaints about Dr. Halsey being British. Let's see here. And also dumb reaction complaints about there being an Asian girl with Chief. Alternate universe.
It is an alternate universe. They've already confirmed that. And they've also basically said that this is meant to appeal to people who don't know about Halo. Yeah. Which kind of defeats the whole purpose of making a Halo TV series, because why the fuck would you make something that's got the name of an established brand on it if the people who consume that brand are not your target demographic?
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
So it's got problems beyond any politics, which is something that is becoming a theme today.
Yeah.
And then Chaos Sonic threw in another buck, said, context is old computer's motherboard caught fire right at the end of the last year. He spent $3,000 just to buy a new PC and a new driver. So he's working on building that money back.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's not fun when an expensive PC goes to shit. I mean, because if one part goes, everything could go.
Don't I fucking know that. Yeah.
Because my old editing PC, the reason I use my laptop for it is because that thing, I've tried to repair it several times now. It's fucked. All the parts are in it or fucked except for the hard drives. So
yeah,
it sucks. So yeah, again, no politics in the chat, guys. Please, I really don't like asking over and over again. Like if it's a political figure, I don't want to talk about him. Like aside from a quick reference. Yeah. So if that's going to be what your question is today, we're going to skip it. Just so you know, we're trying to get away from that as hard as we can because it's not fun. This is interesting to discuss because this actually has something to do with video games, and we just want to get back. We just want to fucking play video games, guys. Like we got into this because we kind of felt like we were forced to, and we've realized we have the choice to get away from it. You know?
Yeah.
By the way, I like Joe Rogan. Do you like Joe Rogan, Hatman?
I generally like him. I'm not like an avid listener of his podcast, but you know, on occasion I'll listen to it, and I haven't been disappointed so far.
Yeah, so I've actually been a fan of his comedy for a while. And I'm especially liking the older Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan of like 12 years ago was like an edgy atheist. And it would kind of get a little bit annoying. But now, like ever since he started the Joe Rogan Experience and he started inviting all these guests on, he's definitely become a much more open individual. He let Jordan,
more mellowed out.
He let Jordan Peterson talk about the truth of the Bible, and he didn't argue. And I was just kind of sitting there like, whoa, that just happened. You know? And of course, you know, he's had people like Ben Shapiro on there, but he's also had people on, you know, like he's had Cenk Uygur on there too. He's had Bernie Sanders on there. And he's had Dan Crenshaw on there. You know, and he has these great conversations with them. And that's the one thing that I really like about Joe Rogan. I prefer listening to him about MMA because this is a guy who's a black belt under 2 different instructors in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a black belt in Taekwondo. He knows combat sports probably better. He's probably the biggest fan of combat sports in the world at this point. He's one of those guys that, in my opinion, should go into the UFC Hall of Fame just as a commentator because he has done so much for the advancement of martial arts in American society that he has, in my opinion, changed, or one of the guys who has helped to change the perception of martial arts and make people realize that what it actually is and how it benefits people. So I really have a great respect for Joe Rogan in that regard, because speaking as somebody who has learned martial arts now since then, you know, because Muay Thai is fucking awesome and so is boxing. But regardless, when it comes right down to it, the whole world has seemed to want to cancel him this last week.
Oh yeah. Last week or last 2 weeks, it feels like this has gone on for too damn long.
Yeah. The even the White House, which that's scary. Even the White House was pressuring Spotify to censor this man. And Spotify,
and what were his crimes even? Like that he had qualified medical professionals on the show? I mean, these aren't like random crackpot conspiracy theorists.
No, he had credible medical professionals. He had guys that had a more controversial take on COVID and the vaccines, but that was because they were gentlemen who don't work for the government, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it comes to everything COVID, there's a lot of people out there in the media and things like that whatever the government tells them, they just follow it blind. Whereas Joe, being a curious individual, has people on who have a dissenting opinion, and he talks to them about it. And as such, they wanted to basically destroy this man. This is like the fact that the federal government, has somebody talking about it is fucking scary.
Yeah.
Because the government should not be pressuring private institutions to censor people.
Yeah, and really that's the way that they get around the fucking First Amendment protections too. Like, the government can't censor you, but because a private company isn't bound by that right, they can. So the government pressures the company, and now you see why that's such a fucking issue.
Yeah. I mean,
that's fucking terrifying.
The thing about Joe, like, we have ran into, when we were doing the politics podcast, we ran into these COVID policies of certain, you know, things, you know, and we had an episode censored because of that, which was endlessly infuriating.
Yeah, because we straight up said we don't believe this.
Yeah,
you know, we weren't telling people what to think and what to do.
Yeah, our advice on that episode, I went back. YouTube never got back to us about what we said that was misinformation.
No, of course not.
I wanted a quote. I wanted a timestamp, something. I emailed them several times about it, and they gave us nothing. Because what we say is the same thing. Talk to your doctor. Micah, what about X? Talk to your doctor. We're not doctors. This is a Wendy's. Talk to your doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and Joe Rogan at the end of the day says the exact same fucking thing. Talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor.
But it's dangerous misinformation to talk to your doctor.
I guess. Like, it's so silly to me. So, and this is the one thing that was really interesting that I saw a fact checker do online, is they said, you know, they're saying that there's all this dangerous misinformation being spread from Joe Rogan, and they couldn't name any specific examples.
Nope.
And that's
I wonder why.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you're like, all right, look, if you can't give me an example of what's going on, then you shouldn't be talking about this. You know? Also, people in the chat talking about the stream freezing up. Refresh. That's why your F5 key is there. But when it comes right down to it, what really worries me is that if Spotify had bent, what this means for podcasts in general. Because I don't know if people have browsed Spotify, but there's a lot of fucking options for things. There's a lot of podcasts on there. So if all of a sudden you're bending to people, by the way, that was my Windows, guys, not yours. If you start bending to what everybody else is saying, it doesn't just affect one guy. It affects everybody. And that just... it puts everybody in a bind.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is why free speech is important, and why especially it's important for creative people. Is if we start seeing these standards start to wane, and we people stop taking them seriously, it's a scary thought for those of us who like broadcasting. We are, this is and on top of that, as comic book publishers too, we are reliant on the First Amendment to protect us from the government.
Yep.
Yep. And it makes things a bit, frightening for those of us out there when we see the federal government going after one dude who just happens to have the most popular podcast on Earth right now. Because we want to grow. We want this podcast to get bigger. I'm going to look to see if we can get on Spotify, mostly because I only really want to upload this to one place anyway. But
yeah, seriously,
that's just the gimmick, is like the lack of discussion is, and the lack of willingness to just let people talk in modern day society goes to kind of what we were talking about with the last thing. We've talked about this on the show before, that freedom of speech is not just... It is a right, obviously, but there's a tradition to it. In the sense that we, as Americans, understand that people have a right to their opinions. The opinion might suck.
Right.
Their opinion can be wrong, by the way, because opinions have to be based on something. They could be fucking wrong. But they have the right to speak. That is a God-given right, and it should be respected. So if you cannot respect this man and his willingness to put stuff out there, then what can you respect? He's just a comedian who has a podcast. I mean, this is a guy that I remember in the earlier days of YouTube. I was watching him and Brian Redband react to the BME Pain Olympics, and it was actually kind of funny.
Oh my God. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Oh, yeah. We're getting some old internet there.
Yeah, that's classic shit right there.
Yeah. So, needless to say, that is a lot of where we're sitting with this. I'm a fan of Joe Rogan, so I'm obviously biased. But at the end of the day, I do really feel like there's a bigger issue here. Because podcasts are the thing. People love podcasts. Because it's a reinvention of radio, in a lot of things, a lot of broadcasting that goes on these days is a reinvention of what's done in radio stations. It's just, we can just do it from the comfort of our own homes. Like with me, just a few $100s worth of equipment, and I've got equipment that's on par with what I was working with when I worked at a radio station when I was 16 years old. So when it comes right down to it, this is just something that's always going to worry me, because I want the ability to continue to make money off of the things that, and maybe someday this will be our main job, is the comics and our enterprise, because instead of, it's basically part-time at this point. So, people should be able to make money off of this. People should be able to make a living off of this. People should not have to live in fear of their opinions suddenly disappearing and their mouth being sewn shut, and if we don't start standing up to that current element of the culture that wants to just destroy everybody, it's actually going to succeed. You know, we're the only people who can give it power, and we're the only people that can take away that power. So it's something to consider. So, remember the days when the ACLU protected the rights of neo-Nazis to march here in Illinois?
Yep.
It's one of the most controversial things that you can actually think of that shouldn't be controversial. Well, you know.
Yeah. I like to say just because there's certainly a far cry from the organization that would do such a thing now that ACLU is their dead name.
Yeah. But here's the thing when it comes to this sort of thing. You have a dude out there that says something hateful, like Mao did nothing wrong. I support his right to say that. So obviously I don't really have a problem with Chink's nephew, but but I also support the Micah Curtis and Alex the Hatman Baldwin who say suck our dicks, you commie pinko fuck. So both can be stated.
Suck my star-spangled ding dong.
Yeah. So, all right, final topic for today. So, Hatman, what is the purpose of acting?
The purpose of acting?
Like, what does it do? What are you doing when you act?
You are portraying a character that is not you for other people to enjoy and be entertained by.
So you're pretending to be someone else, right?
Very elaborate playing pretend, yes.
Yeah. So this is an article from Yahoo. So we have Yahoo acting like a bunch of fucking Yahoos. Haha. Sorry, I'm resizing things here. Saying here, Spider-Man fans, citation needed, criticized Dakota Johnson's reported Spider-Verse role as quote-unquote disability erasure. Oh shit, here we go again. So, apparently, because Dakota Johnson, who is not blind and not old, has been cast as a blind old character. Supposedly that is like taking an opportunity from blind actresses.
Which ones specifically? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. These are not... First off, let me say this. These are not... These are not Spider-Man fans. They're not. I'm going to say that right now. These are not Spider-Man fans.
No.
Hatman... It seems that Andrew Garfield recently played a radioactive man who can shoot spider webs. Clearly this is Spider-Man erasure.
Absolutely, it is. And on top of that, Willem Dafoe played a man with dissociative identity disorder, and he clearly does not have that disorder. So he needs to be canceled too.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking how do we know that that Thomas Hayden Church isn't made out of sand too?
Oh, like, yeah.
Is he actually made out of sand? we have to protect the sand people.
Exactly, and
they deserve representation too.
Not to mention, what is with this?
Boba Fett is not enough.
What is this about? Fucking Also, thank you, Youngbug Ray, for the resub, and also this needs to be said. Why is the symbiote of Venom being portrayed by a CGI creature? That's an insult to symbiotes everywhere.
That's alien erasure.
Yeah. How dare you?
Like how could they do that?
Yeah. By the way, are you guys picking up on how absolutely fucking silly we sound right now? Because that's how silly this sounds.
Yeah.
Christ.
Alfred Molina is not a 200 IQ genius. He should not be playing Otto Octavius.
We need to get an actual scientist that to play this. What's like, all right, so we get so I guess we get Dolph Lundgren as Doc Ock. I could maybe get behind that. But anyway, as long as it's not Bill Nye.
Hardwell brings up an interesting point too. Fucking MCU's Aunt May was not an elderly woman.
Fuck no, like
Miss Marissa Tomei is nobody gave a fuck about that.
Yeah, well, it's because Miss Marissa Tomei is hot. So,
well, yes, of course.
Chaos Sonic also put in here, put a bucket and says, "Got Pokemon Legends Arceus, fun, but it says something when God wants you to complete the Pokedex to capture God, and he isekais you to do that." Pokemon's getting very weird.
Is it Arceus or Arceus? I have no idea how to pronounce it.
But regardless, look, the idea that you took a role away from somebody else because you play someone as blind is fucking stupid, and it's not controversial. And we have to run ads to help fund this podcast, so subscribe if you don't want to see them. So regardless, when it comes right down to it, there is a this sort of thing is nonsensical to me, because with this particular instance, there needs to be an idea of like people saying, "Hey, like shut the fuck up." Like like nobody lost a an anything here.
No opportunity has been, and it's funny too how they suddenly care about accurate representation now, when it's dare I say when it's a ginger being erased. Gingers are a minority.
Yeah.
Nope. No one cur.
Also, thank you to, let's see here, Brain for gifting a sub to Crystal Hydra as well. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, guys,
your ad problems have been resolved.
let me say this. This is a reality of broadcasting. We have to run ads. You know, so if you don't want to see ads, that's why subscriptions exist. It's $5 and you don't see ads at all. Like, ever.
And Twitch is dumb for sending you, like, fucking 6 ads. I just had 6 ads.
I get it. I get it, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
We have to run them. So, and especially because apparently payouts for them are going to increase substantially.
They'd better.
So, they're going to get ran, like, every hour, basically.
Just know that it's at least going to a good cause.
Yes. Like, it keeps us going. So, something to consider. And of course, you know, you can subscribe to avoid them, and we would greatly appreciate it, because it helps us out quite a bit. Regardless, this sort of thing really needs to stop. It's like, acting exists for a reason, you know? And the idea that, like, at that point, it's not really acting, you know? You just let people who are good actors do their fucking job.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why does why does their demographic have to match the actors? Just why? Like, what's the point of that?
Montanui says,
at that point, it's taking away from the meritocracy of it.
Yeah. Montanui says, how many times do we have to say this? You don't have to be the exact thing you're playing to act, otherwise it wouldn't be acting. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Now it is time for the Q&A. Also, Servant just gifted a gift sub, so 4-Button Soul, you enjoy that, buddy. Good to see you, Servant. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and bring up, because we are at the tail end of the podcast. It is time for the Q&A. So, keep in mind, if you are a subscriber, you can get access to our Discord server. In which case, you can actually get first priority when it comes to getting your questions answered, because once the show ends, that's the cutoff. We don't do the overflow anymore. We don't have the time to do the overflow anymore. Nope. So, this is the best way to do it, is to get the questions in. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Acorn Soup wants to know, since Apex Legends is free to play, what is the bounty for Hatman and Tofu during a Tofu and Hatman Apex stream? So I'm guessing you want the three of us to play it. I don't think that Apex is cross-platform from PC to console. So Hatman would not be able to join us. If you want me to do it, that's different. I would have to think about it and get back to you. Because I am not interested in Apex Legends at all. So...
No, it says it supports cross-platform play. I don't know if that's PC or console cross-platform, but...
We'd have to look into it. But,
Apex, though.
Yeah, like, Hatman and I are not Battle Royale guys. We really don't like them. So, not to mention... The net code in Apex is not that great compared to something like Gears 5. Gears 5 has an amazing net code.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
We didn't have a problem with Gears.
Gears was like, you and Brain are half a country away from me. And we had, like, less than 30 ping to each other. That was insane. So really, 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 really good shit. So I'll have to get back to you on that. Diva wants to know, what Disney villain terrified you badly as a kid? For her, it's a tie between Judge Claude Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's a good pick. Or the Horned King from the Black Cauldron. That's another good pick. She also says, listening to the recent Skillet album, have a mental soundtrack for Inglewood. Nice.
I hadn't heard Skillet in a long time.
I've actually met them, believe it or not.
Really?
Back when they were starting.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a long time ago. Anime guy says it's PC to console and PS4 or 5 to Xbox. So that's interesting. Okay. Anyway, Disney villain that scared me as a kid.
I didn't really have any that terrified me. I also did not see the Black Cauldron until I was already an adult, so...
I would say... she didn't scare me, but Maleficent creeped me out. So did Cruella de Vil. So that's about the best I can really say. Scared, not really.
No.
Now, my sisters were scared shitless of Cruella de Vil. So there's that at least. Hardboiled wants to know, of all the movies that you know that are going to be released this year, what are you most looking forward
to? Good question. What the hell is coming out? Okay, no, actually, I know two off the top of my head. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because goddamn it, it looks like a horror Doctor Strange film directed by Sam Raimi. That's like the three of my boxes.
And Shuma's in it.
And
Shuma fucking Gorath.
Yep. Even though they can't call him freaking Shuma because of rights or whatever, it's fucking
Shuma.
him. Yeah, it's fucking him. And then Halloween Ends. I'm all in for that shit. I'm all in for that shit.
The one that I was really looking forward to is already out apparently, and I need to watch it. Is Nightmare Alley. It's the new Guillermo del Toro film. So, and when I watch it, I will definitely review it. Servant wants to know, what is the bounty for us to watch Get Smart from the 1960s?
Oh. So I just looked it up.
How big
one
is it?
season is about 30 episodes.
Ooh, wow. That's a lot.
That's huge. That would take a lot of... at least that would take a lot of my time.
Yeah, whatever the normal bounty has been for
know.
a whole season, whatever it's been in the past, that's what it would be. So...
Yeah. Which is weird. I've never seen the original series, and my dog was named after Maxwell Smart. So,
Sweet Baby Ray wants to know, for entertainment, do you think we'll see a change at Activision since Microsoft bought them? Yes. This is something that
yes,
I know a guy who he is the older brother of somebody that my cousin Josh had in his youth group, who worked for Bungie, now works at 343. He has always said that Microsoft runs a very tight ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they can come across as being very stringy to work with, which, by the way, if you go and you watch the documentary on how Gears of War was created, you'll see it. But at the same time, they keep a lot of BS from going on. And that is... I legitimately think that is what they plan on doing. You know, I think that part of the reason that they picked Blizzard wasn't just the exclusives that they're going to get from that, but also the simple fact that it's something that has a lot of earning potential that they could very easily turn around if they get rid of a few people. Which is why Bobby Kotick is on his way out.
He's a big fucking
problem.
Kotick has been a big problem for fucking Activision for well over a decade, at least since the whole Modern Warfare 2 fiasco.
Well, he has made them a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, but that's basically because they pumped out Call of Duty annually
and Guitar Hero.
That alone. Well, Guitar Hero, yes, but he also killed Guitar Hero, if I remember correctly.
And that's what I was about to get to. Is the problem with Bobby Kotick is that his philosophy of burn it at both ends, because it'll make a ton of money, like, is good for making money, but it's not good for the length of the franchise. And Call of Duty, you know, like Microsoft even said, it's like this is no longer going to get done yearly. You know, we're gonna go to an every other year sort of thing,
which is good. Like, thank God, take a break.
So, I do think that we're gonna see some massive improvements. The culture at Blizzard is gonna change because Microsoft isn't gonna put up with that shit. We're gonna see people get fired for what happened with that controversy, and they're gonna get fired bad. A lot of the shit that Blizzard used to do isn't going to happen anymore. Like, if controversy... Like, we're not going to see that many controversies happen at this point, but on top of that, you know, they're not going to be able to go to Overwatch and make somebody gay to try to, you know, appease people or distract Kotaku. You know, the shit is just not going to happen. So, Melee Brawler wants to know, given China has banned all Western films from the market, combined with the huge investment going into streaming services, how likely are we going to see more original, unique films that aren't sequels, reboots, or remakes of established franchises or series? I don't really see it changing that much. Hey, Optimus. I'm glad. Thanks for the compliment, dude. I think that we're still going to have that, but I think that not constantly focusing on the Chinese market is going to give people a little bit more freedom to do what they want. You know?
Was Spider-Man released in China?
I don't remember, honestly.
I don't think any of the MCU films from this year were released in China. And now No Way Home is like what, the number 4 top grossing movie of all time now?
Yeah. You don't need them to make huge
It's
money. Just make good movies.
fucking huge. No. Yeah, exactly. So I wonder if that's an indicator of, maybe we don't need the fucking Chinese market anymore. We don't need China money.
We don't.
Especially considering that fucking Marvel basically handed them Shang-Chi and they still said, no, cultural issues. Fuck you.
Yeah.
So, fuck that.
SGD asks, is there any media, be it a single episode of a TV series to a whole franchise, that storyline did not go the way you were anticipating, but you found yourself enjoying more because of it? Ooh, that's an interesting one, because that's sort of like subvert your expectations thing.
Yeah.
The first season of Alnoa Zero is a really good example of that I really liked. It's too bad the second season wasn't as good as it could have been. What's another one that subverted my expectations? I ended up liking it anyway. Oh! Not a TV series, but KOTOR 2. KOTOR 2 is the video game equivalent of subverting your expectations but doing it right. So... let's see here.
I can't really think of one for me. I know there's one there, but if I remember it, then I'll say something.
Fair enough. 420 Gunny throws in $3. He says best Disney prince, he would go with Hercules. Best Disney princess, his is Belle. Would you be willing to take out Legend of Vox Machina, the Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime Video? What's that? Is that the one that everybody's saying is cringe?
I've heard nothing but good things from people about it. Everyone's telling me to watch it, but the thing is, I'm not huge on Critical Role. It's like it's their animated. It's an animated series based on their D&D campaign. I'm not huge on Critical Role, so I'm like, I don't know. But apparently, it's fucking amazing.
My thing is bring it on, because like I was pleasantly surprised by Arcane on Netflix. Like Arcane was good. I don't give a flying fuck about League of Legends, but Arcane was really enjoyable. So bring it on. Throw money at me. Like the usual for whatever a series is. Brainbox wants to know, kind of related to the ActiBliz stuff, is it me or is it a weird coincidence how the last 3 major acquisitions by bigger publishers involve a company that has a wavering MMO or MMO-like game that was hideously expensive to make? First was Bethesda, then it was ActiBliz. Now it's Bungie. Though one could say that the Bungie one isn't that big. I think it's part of it because the problem with an MMO is that, and EA can tell you this, with KOTOR, or SWOTOR rather, it's a big money sink. It's not easy to make your money back on it. So, the only thing that's still keeping SWOTOR alive is the whales. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just coincidence, honestly. Because Bungie is the only one that doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me, because Sony would have to know like what's in Bungie's pocket next.
Yeah.
And that would be a gamble, really. Because Destiny, obviously, like they're not gonna make a whole lot of cash off of that, because Destiny's multi-platform is gonna stay multi-platform, and Bungie owns the rights to it. Like the one smart thing they did with the Activision deals, they maintained the rights to it. Bethesda, like their whole catalog, oh yeah, fucking great, good hits there. Activision Blizzard, yes, you have money-making franchises in there. Stupid not to pick those up.
Yeah.
Bungie right now is Destiny. So
the thing about
I don't know.
The thing about Destiny is that like it sold really well when it came out. It was like the number 2 set selling on like each release. It was the number 2 game. The thing is that whether or not it's still, like, it's not bringing in money like other stuff. So yeah, they would have to have something in the back pocket that would be worthwhile. My opinion was this: like, if they're gonna be buying anyone, Konami is who you need to be buying. Konami's value is not in the billions. Konami's value is only in the millions at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cheap sale. Mm-hmm. You buy them out. You give Metal Gear and Silent Hill to Kojima like he wanted, and you just count the money at that point. Give Castlevania to somebody competent too, and just count the money.
Exactly.
You know. So
I guess the only reason they wouldn't go with that is because Konami is also so tied up with pachinko shit right now.
Yeah,
so they would have to take that over.
Yeah. So, Shangus has a Gundam question for us, specifically for me, but you can answer too, of course.
Your territory.
Is there any episode from any Gundam series that stood out to you the most? Here on Mecha Mondays, which, by the way, if you're not a subscriber, if you want into the Discord server, I actually host a show every Monday called Mecha Mondays, which is like a good gateway drug into the mecha genre. We actually watched one of my favorite and probably one of the most interesting episodes of Gundam Wing. It's called And Its Name is Epion.
Mm-hmm.
It is fucking chilling. What goes on in that episode. Aside from that one, the finale, the final episode of Gundam Victory still sticks with me. That one I think is really, really good. The final episode of Iron Blooded Orphans is really... Oh, there's a lot of Gundam series that end very strongly. Iron Blooded Orphans is another one of them. The season finale of the first season of Gundam 00 is one that still sticks with me because of how is a really good balance of having the bad guys win, sort of having an Empire Strikes Back style ending, and pulled off really well. My favorite episode, though, of any Gundam might still be And Its Name is Epion. Because it's the turning point of Gundam Wing, where things really start to escalate in a direction you weren't expecting. And the reason for that is that was around the time that a different writer came in to write the second half of the series. So, and he introduces Epion when he comes in, and like the dynamic of the series starts to shift in a different direction, and gets really, really intriguing. So those would be my picks for Gundam episodes. So okay. Now that we got the Discord server out of the way, let's hit the chat. Let's see. Anime Guy says, this is a statement, but I'll read it anyway because he redeemed highlight my message. Says, most likely there's going to be a make Destiny multimedia because the success of the lore nerds making long projects like My Name is BYFS. That is interesting. And no, that is always something you can do. You can make comics out of it. You can make graphic novels. You can make books. You can make, and like, yeah, Destiny has so much fucking lore. Not all of it good, in my opinion, because the lore actually turned me off of it. But if some people are into it and they want to they want to buy more shit about it, are you going to tell them no? You know, it's like
the way they approached lore originally was really bad.
Oh yeah, the opening of Destiny 2 made me delete it. So
I was talking more like Destiny 1, where everything was in the fucking was at Bungie.net.
Oh yeah, that was really stupid. But
you wanted to read anything, go to the fucking website. Really? You fucking kidding me? I have to go to basically a wiki for this shit?
How about you go to These Nuts? Like, seriously.
Yeah, for real.
All right, let's hit the Twitter the chat question. So Leonardo One wants to know thoughts on Twitter wanting to Gina Carano to go to jail for her opinions on COVID. Well, they can go to These Nuts too.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, like we have a button for that.
Fuck them.
So, Zion the Blank says, are console exclusives not what they used to be?
Oh, excuse me.
They don't quite feel as impactful on Xbox as they used to be, because they're also available on PC. Like, I played Halo Infinite on PC. I played Gears 5 on PC. Which I like, by the way, because I don't want to buy another Xbox console unless I want the experience in another room of my house. Or my apartment, rather. Because I do have an entertainment room, right? So what that gives me is the chance to go and into a different room with a console and sit down and play it, which is nice. But the only reason that I would want one of the newer Xbox consoles is just because of the backwards compatibility, which is still a good selling point in my opinion. But to a PC player like myself, no, they don't have the same impact. But maybe I'm not the right guy to ask. Hey, what about you? What do you think? Because you are a console guy.
Read me the question again. I kind of got mixed up.
Do console games, do console exclusives not feel like they have the same impact that they used to?
Not really to me. I guess like the only ones that I feel like do have impact are like Nintendo stuff. Otherwise, no, it just kind of blurs together. And even then, like I guess it really doesn't bother me as much either, because part of that growing up was you not having access to all the consoles to play exclusives on. So you had to rationalize, oh, well, I want this system or this system because, it's got these franchises on it. These are going to be exclusive and I love them all. Now, one, you have so many multi-platform games that the console exclusives don't matter as much anymore. And two, I have everything anyway, so console exclusives doubly don't fucking matter to me. So they don't really carry the same kind of punch that they used to. At least I'm not out here defending whatever console, whatever manufacturer, because they have these franchises as exclusives and these are so much better than these franchises. Like, I don't know. I guess it feels just kind of juvenile at this point.
Yeah. We're too old for this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What else we got here? Thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett from Mab? I haven't watched it yet. I have no opinion.
I like it. You should give it a watch, but watch it. I think next week is the finale, so just binge it all.
Okay.
On the whole, it's pretty good. I get some people's complaints that it kind of takes away from the mythos of Boba Fett, which they kind of gave to the Mandalorian instead, and now they're having to make up for lost ground.
Yeah.
But honestly, I kind of like it. I don't know. Like, I never understood the complaints with people saying, "Oh, it's too slow," or "It's not. No, there's not enough payoff." I thought it was fine. Like, I like the way that they've done it. How they explained him surviving the Sarlacc and all that. Even, I mean, sure, like he's not the ultra badass like he was in the EU anymore, but I don't think he has to be. I think he's a compelling character just as they presented him. So
there we go. All right. What else we got in the chat? Also, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who has given us the warm welcome back. It means a lot to us. We really did need a break, and even though it wasn't a long break,
seriously,
it was a good one. So
yeah.
What else we got? I got the one from Leonardo Juan. Brian Gilmartin wanted to know our thoughts on green M&M design being changed for the sake of diversity and inclusion.
Stupid.
It's
beyond stupid.
It's candy.
It's fucking candy. What? One, was anyone really that upset about her losing fucking go-go boots? And two, why the fuck was it even necessary for her to lose them anyway? What's the justification? I don't fucking...
People get angry over stuff just to get angry over stuff, and that's a really good example.
Yeah, like I think really what they were doing was just trying to court controversy for headlines, because of course it was going to happen. And my response to that is, this is literally not going to impact how I purchase and consume your product, so fuck off. So, oops.
Goodness gracious. What else we got? How much for you to watch My Name is BYFS lore long form video project? Sort of makes it good and predictable. How long is it? That's the question. Once I know that, maybe I can say something. But Zach Loggins wants to know: are we interested in the Batman movie that's coming out? I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued. Do I think it's going to be as good as The Dark Knight? Fuck no. I don't think any Batman movies are ever going to be that good. But I'm biased. I really like the Nolan trilogy quite a bit. Beyond the memes, I think they're great films.
I always underestimate how good a Batman project is going to be, because I think we said I think we ended up saying about Joker, it's either going to be a travesty or it's going to be one of the best Batman movies ever made.
Yeah.
Batman-esque movies. And that's exactly what ended up fucking happening. So I'm going to say the same damn thing. This is either going to be an absolute travesty, or it's going to end up being arguably one of the best Batman movies ever fucking made.
Yeah, that's basically it. Let's see here. Crystal Hydra wants to know, with Activision now under Microsoft's control, do you think they'll go through Acti's old library of games and resurrect old IPs? Maybe. And he mentioned Prototype. I would not be against it, or at least putting them on Game Pass.
Prototype. Yeah, give Prototype another run.
Psycho Ren wants to know, have we played Aliens Fireteam Elite? Not very low or heavy, but fun to play.
No.
I have. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was honestly a blast. The thing is, other people that I played it with didn't like it as much as I did, so I don't know if I'm able to rope them back into it. So we'll see what happens there. Let's see here. It's an hour and 26 minutes. Give me $20 then, and I'll do it. But anyway. Is there anybody else in the chat who has not gotten a question answered yet? Because we still got 15 minutes. Because we might end up getting through, like, whatever the cringe is before we end up leaving. Oh, wait, I got a ping on Discord.
That'd be good for time.
Oh, it looks like the cringe has been chosen. Our old friend Corone will be our clip for today.
Hey, Doggo-chan.
She's weird, but we like her.
Doggo-chan.
Also, guys, here in about 10 minutes, we will be rating our friend Martyr. If you haven't met Martyr yet, she's the best. We're not kidding with that, by the way. It's playing Hollow Knight, and I'm interested because I haven't played Hollow Knight, so I want to see how it goes. I already know what the raid message is. So, Hatman, you want to hear something funny?
What's funny?
Martyr can't make grilled cheese without burning it.
That's just sad. That's not funny. That's just sad.
I know. Like, from what I've seen, she's actually a really good cook, but she can't make grilled cheese. I'm like, how?
That's upsetting.
Like, you're a 30-year-old woman, for God's sake. How do you not know how to make medium heat? Butter the bread. Put the cheese in the middle. It's golden brown. She said that, I lost my fucking mind. I'm still losing my mind over it.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
So whenever we go, our raid message will probably be, Micah will show you the art of grilled cheese. We're not gonna let her live that down, by the way. Like, no, like, that ain't happening. So. Oh, goodness. Goodness. Modern Newey wants to know what our thoughts on what they're doing with Riddler and Batman. He says he thinks it's weird, but he doesn't hate it. With Riddler, they're trying to give it a feel like the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it.
I understand it, but I don't
either.
like it.
I've always liked Edward Nygma having that sort of 1920s-esque bowler hat style. I really feel like that is sort of the definitive Riddler feel, you know, because he believes himself to be an intellectual superior, and I always prefer it when he portrays himself in that sort of a manner.
I want to see a Riddler on screen that has that combination of like narcissistic personality disorder and OCD.
Yeah,
like he knows he's better than everyone else. He has to prove it. But the OCD will literally not let him get away with a crime without leaving a clue behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want that. I want that sort of conflict of mind there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be super interesting. I think there's been at least one comic that explored that. But I don't know off the top of my head. But yes, I want that.
Oh, goodness. Crystal Hydra says, I want Prototype back. It's the closest I'll ever get to a game where I play as Carnage. Pretty much. That is a really good way to put it. I think that people have ran out of questions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Got everybody.
So, what we're going to do...
Cringe!
Yeah, it is now time for the anime cringe. For the last 10 minutes... Let me get this pulled up here. So, Kurone becomes a completely different person while playing Dying Light 2. This'll be a thing.
Yep. All right. Tell me when.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
What?
What? just leave. Oh wow, she sent that thing flying. I'm getting some audio stutter for some reason.
She's going Negan on the motherfucker.
We need alright, I'm gonna pause this real quick. We need somebody somewhere is gonna need to do fan art of Kurone as Negan now. Like whoa, servant! Alright, I'll read that here in a second.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh wow, it fucking drop kicked him. Okay, that was funny. That was pretty fucking hilarious. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, we got a donation here from Servant. He says here, if nothing else, go watch Get Smart. So fair enough. I will watch part of it. So yeah. Well, Hatman, we got a few minutes left. How do you feel first show back?
It's weird because I don't think I have put on this hat since the last time we streamed.
Really?
Seriously, yeah. Part of the reason why is because my hair was just so ungodly long that it was actually uncomfortable to wear a hat. And I finally got it cut yesterday, and that has made things so much more comfortable, inside and outside of a hat. So
there you go. For me, it's just like this has just been such a part of my weekly routine. It's really weird to not do it, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I am gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and get prepared to raid Martyr. I'm gonna go ahead and put our raid message in the chat. It is going to be, Micah will teach you the art of grilled cheese. And then, of course, put the smug Micah emoji behind it, if you have it. If not, you need to get subscribed. So that is our raid message, right there. I'll go ahead and start getting us prepped to raid our friend Martyr. Don't forget tonight, if one of my mods would put shout out Graded Plays real quick. Graded, where I'm going to be over on Graded's channel tonight for the Bully Seat. So Bully Night basically is every Friday we get together with our friends over at Graded.5. Well, I do. Hatman doesn't. But and we play fighting games, and we play a loser stays mentality where you have to get good to get out of the bully seat, and if you don't, you're going to be stuck there for a while. And we play really late at night, so it's a lot of fun. It'll be at midnight Eastern, so 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. And it is a blast. So if you've got Guilty Gear Strive on PC and you want to get good, that's the place to do it. Trust us. So we're going to go ahead and get prepped to go hang out with Martyr. Just remember our raid message. Micah will teach you the art of grilled cheese. Let me go ahead and start getting us prepped. So Hatman, any final words before we head out?
I'm hungry, and I kind of wish that I could eat melted cheese because I would eat a grilled cheese.
Yes. Folks, we love all of you, and we're so glad to see you again. So, we're going to go ahead and take off. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and I need to cast some kind of magic spell to allow me to eat a grilled cheese.
Yes. Let's go say hi to our friend Martyr. Until then, y'all guys have a great one.